What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into X-Men issue number 29. As we continue on with the fall of X, we have recently learned that there are mutants in Latveria, ones under the command of Doom. And so Shadowcat, along with Miss Marvel, they were deployed to Europe to meet up with Wolverine in an effort to not only meet these mutants, but rescue them. But when they get there, they are not met with warm welcomes. They are met by Dr. Doom and his legion of mutants. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this one, we are picking up in Krakoa in the past. Back in the days before the fall of X, Charles Xavier was preparing to talk to the world, to talk to the humans on planet Earth. As he starts to give this message, this is when somebody talks back to him. Somebody who has been patiently waiting for this call. And right off the bat, Doom is being Doom, letting Charles know that I know you're not powerful enough to be speaking to the world at once without the use of Cerebro. And I also know that you're really not that confident. So he makes the assumption that his old friend Eric is standing right by his side. But Charles goes on to say that he was just about to address the world. And while he is relatively impressed that Doom is able to actually speak back to him, he doesn't have time for this. Of course, Doom's hubris letting him know that if you're gonna talk to the world, you also address Doom. Regardless of what the offer is, Doom is already saying, our answer is no. But he is granting him a professional courtesy. He tells Charles that you are not made for the crown that you wear, that everything you are doing, it will end in ruin. With Charles taking off the helmet and letting them know that it was Doom. Magneto doesn't even really care. What he says is to simply block Doom and move on. This is where we pick up in the early days with the mutants in Latveria. Week 1 to year 1. We see these mutants transformed into warriors. He knows that inevitably the day will come where Krakoa will fall, because the mutants' nations of flaws is many. But there is a very critical point of failure that he believes. That, of course, is Charles Xavier. And when the mutants that he has gathered have been largely chewed up and spit out, he says that the X-Men will invade Latveria, and they will attempt to kidnap these mutants. He prophesied a day to come, and that day, it is now upon them. That's what takes us to Latveria in present day. He told his mutants, his legion of mutants, that this was going to happen. The mutant day of treachery is now at hand. The first one to strike is Volta Doom, an individual with powers that are too volatile to control at the moment. But Doom had gifted her with a weapon, a spear. This spear is made of vibranium, so when Wolverine goes in to give a devastating blow to this spear, he is unable to cut through it. Volta Doom shooting her electricity out through the spear. It completely electrifies Wolverine. We see his arm turned into freaking toast. Wolverine trying to talk with Victor, trying to let him know that we don't even have to call this a jailbreak. We can call this work release. Right now, the world has gone to hell and every mutant must stand together, as things look like they're about to go real bad. Miss Marvel is doing everything she can to try and avoid real conflict. This is where we see Slag punch Wolverine, and Shadowcat wastes no time going in on Slag, with Volta Doom electrifying Shadowcat. Miss Marvel quickly grabs the spear from her hand, trying to tell Slag that she doesn't want to fight, but Wolverine does, driving his claws right into the back of Slag. While the others would love to intervene, Doom is saying everybody needs to hold. You guys are mentally here to observe, to understand how these guys fight, because you might spend your whole life fighting the X-Men. The next mutant to attack is Nerium. She is Latverian land in mind and body. Her arms turning into vines, wrapping up Wolverine. We see it poke him in the neck and it looks like it poisoned him with something. At this point, the X-Men are trying to figure out why the mutants are even fighting against them. The truth is, these guys have been brainwashed by Doom. They had come to liberate these mutants. But as they proclaim that they are free, Wolverine says, then we're gonna simply leave you to your ruler, leave this place all behind us. But this is when Doom also stops and he lets them know that you're not leaving Latveria until we have had dinner. With the fighting coming to an end, we see the mutants on one side of the table and the Doom mutants on the other. as everybody gorges themselves. Slag saying that the fight he had with Wolverine was probably one of the best fights that he has had in his life. But Shadowcat goes to have a conversation with Doom. Doom says that he knew that Krakoa was going to fall, that it was all going to happen. Now she is asking, what happens next? For Doom, the gift of foresight is precious. Krakoa was always destined to fall. Charles was not yet ready to have the crown upon his head. He knew that his Latverian mutants that shared the same genetic line were in danger, so he closed off his borders to everybody. And the way he sees it, the mutants here in Latveria, they are very much alive, while the mutants everywhere else are suffering. The answer to what happens next, this is a gift that he is not ready to give. And as for the last Krakoan, Charles Xavier is in a jail of his own making. Either he will end up destroying himself or he will emerge a much more interesting man. He tells them to be gone by dawn. He bids them a goodbye. This is when Volta Doom that says maybe Doom is the answer to your problems, that you could seek asylum. It is obvious that your enemies fear coming to Latveria, but the mutants do let our X-Men know that since your enemies have declared that this shared gene, that it will be ripped from the earth. If there is an opportunity to take back what is ours, to take them off the board completely, this could trigger a response from the House of Doom, and they would most certainly have them by their side. As we pick up later on back in New York City, that didn't go how exactly they had planned. They lost the battle in that, but they won the war. Everything that just transpired was Doom's way of saying, when the time is right, you will have my sword. They know that eventually they are going to come for Latveria. It would only be a matter of time. If he waits too long, there would only be a handful of mutants left to fight back. And so when the time comes, Doom and his mutants, they will do the right thing and they will fight for mutant kind. As they go back to tell Synch all of this new information, as they get to the underground HQ, what they find is nothing but blood. Nothing but destruction. Both Synch and Talon are missing. And what comes next is Fall of the House of X. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Alright, so not a bad issue. It appears that the Fall of X really is starting to come to a close. We're gonna find out what happened to Synch and Talon in X-Men issue number 30, but what comes after this issue will be the Fall of the House of X. All the pieces are being set up on the board. Mutant kind has taken huge and devastating blows, but they have just made an ally with one of the most powerful individuals on the planet. They have made an ally out of Doom. And it's interesting because Doom has his own way of doing things. Doom may come off as egotistical, a man that is just full of himself all the time. But in this case, Doom called it. Charles Xavier wasn't ready to lead a nation, but we have seen that Charles Xavier is rising up from the ashes. He is definitely becoming much more interesting of a person. What we know is that everything is getting prepared for the invasion that Tony Stark is planning. If you don't know what I'm referring to, you gotta check out Invincible Iron Man, because Tony Stark is preparing an army. The mutants are gathering their forces. The counteroffensive, it is just on the horizon. And I think that it is fair to say it is about time that mutant kind started throwing some punches. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that has been going on with X-Men or the Fall of X, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only would you be helping out the channel tremendously, but you would be getting tons of perks in the process. If you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, make sure that you guys are liking these videos, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.